Kanpai! Dr. Pepper, so misunderstood.
Is that from Steins Gate?
No, it's Dr. I'm just drinking Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, but the
The
song.
adverts.
Oh.
No, it's from the advertising.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that one.
Why anyone wouldn't try it is a mystery.
Yep.
So,
Hashtag not
welcome, one and all. Welcome, one and all, to episode 75 of Kanpai Cast. This is our episode on our thoughts of mainstream anime, and I am joined today by Xenogelion and Nasuth. The absolutely the more handsome and more put together versions of me. So, this week, hold on, I have just lost my headphones.
Did I just hear myself?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
Ah, we're professionals here.
Can I?
So,
Okay.
did we pause or did we not?
No. Keep going.
Okay. So, just move on quickly to a little housekeeping. Xeno goes to Japan very soon, and the show will be on hiatus.
I think we've got one more
It's
episode
coming up in the
before he.
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
End of this month, and that's it. He's zipping off and abandoning me. I'll miss him. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Monster.
there are chapters and timestamps down below. If you look down there, there's a lovely little button you can press to bring them up, or they'll be at the bottom of the description. There's the standard thing of, come on, please, like and subscribe if you do want to, because we really appreciate everyone we get.
We like you, don't you like us?
Down in the description, there's even a link to Xeno's Patreon, where you can pay him a little bit of money so he can pay Nasuth for the editing he does.
Yeah.
Because,
That's true. I also want to point out that while I'm away in Japan, it is entirely Thaylien's responsibility to make sure Nasuth gets watered. So, if I come back and discover that the sentient scarf has in fact latched on to a post box, that's I know who to blame.
Yeah, I really want to see King of Nightmares just do a very quick edit so that Nasuth had a starved and dehydrated mode for Xeno to come back to. that would be hilarious.
Anywho. So we're going to move on to the topic for this week, which is about mainstream anime and our takes on mainstream anime. So my first question to you, gentlemen, is to you: what is your interpretation, your understanding of mainstream anime?
That is, well, to me, very simply, the anime that gets the most coverage by the most number of platforms. So that would be stuff that would appear on Japanese TV, gets translated and dubbed into English very quickly, and is produced by the same sources that would usually produce what have historically produced the most popular anime in the past, such as like the Shonen Jump or Jump itself, and is able to get the most attention across, whether it's particularly good or not.
Nasuth?
I think it's any. I want to say anything that's made enough of a cultural impact, but that's not necessarily true either. Because I wouldn't classify Akira as particularly mainstream because it's way out there, but it's also a massive cultural touchstone. Probably something that's reached the most. I'm kind of with Thaylien on the reached the most outlet, a number of outlets. But something can do that and then still fall flat on its face and not be like it doesn't make it into that mainstream slot because nobody likes it, like
there's
Blue Submarine number 6.
There's a difference between But even that, Blue Sub 6 was pretty mainstream at the time. It's just got forgotten because it wasn't exceptionally good.
Yeah. But
mean,
Dragon
I
Ball
liked
Z,
it, but-
like Dragon Ball Z existed on television before it got picked up by Cartoon Network. So I would put that way
Yep.
above because it's been seen by more, it's been picked up by more sources and shared more times.
Yes. And also, it has the backing of the manga itself coming to give it that boost to
Yeah.
the viewer base. People who read the manga wanting to see the animation version of it.
And the fact
If
that it still
something
exists
doesn't have a big
today
enough,
with
if something
Super.
doesn't have a big enough following in the light novel or manga, then it's very unlikely it's going to get picked up by a mainstream producer or distributor. So it's not going to have that fan base in the first place.
But I also think it does it like time period is not really dependent. Something could be mainstream and no longer be, seen by that many people. But it was mainstream in its day. Like Evangelion, everybody has seen that. It's still a powerhouse in Japan for God's sake. But it's also not like it's super old. Nobody really watches it anymore in this generation, in this new generation.
So I think we'll discuss cultural impact versus mainstream in a moment. But so I very much agree with a lot of what you guys have said. I think the easiest way, after hearing what you have said, the easiest way to define what is mainstream is typically what is picked up by non-weebs, non-otaku,
Yeah.
we're talking about stuff that is some of the earliest anime that these people will pick up on large content platforms that they already subscribe to, things like Netflix, things like Disney Plus, not things like Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll is a platform that's designed
Serves to
exclusively.
weebs, yeah.
I have
Yes.
one addition to that.
Go for
Because,
it.
yes, memes.
Yeah,
Whether or
that's
not it's
fair.
memeable.
If something gets into the meme culture, it's way more likely to be watched, regardless of platform, because people go seeking out what the meme's from.
Like JoJo
So
memes.
that's why JoJo is so popular, because JoJo is infinitely memeable.
I agree with that. I think that it also depends on how long the memes last post the release of the content. Because right now, like if you're on Reddit and things, there are a lot of Bocce the Rock.
Absolutely.
Memes. But the
But those
question
will
is,
only really
are we
play to the anime fans.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
not only
And they're
that,
also
but
their flavour of the day, their flavour of
Yes.
the month, as it were.
Yeah.
So
will we
JoJo
still see
memes
them
have
in a
lasted.
year's time?
JoJo memes have lasted long beyond the thing, and also in a more interesting fashion. So of course they're going to be, people keep watching it, people keep going back to it. But
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a non-zero number of people that have seen, the infamous Dio walking towards Jotaro colored page from the manga. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a non-zero number of people that have modified it, used it, and have no idea what the origin is.
JoJo, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Then again, there's also that other side of things, because a lot of anime involves the fan service and the waifu, so a few people even find anime through the not safe for work aspect of things.
that is very true. Okay, so I think we have successfully defined here within the show, because we are the pioneers of everything anime. No one else has done this before, clearly.
It's true. It's true.
So my question to you is, how in general, right? So you can't nitpick. How do you feel about mainstream anime in general?
Ooh.
I'm happy to start.
I would say I'd say fair to positive. But I'll let you go
Okay.
first with your longer form. I'm just going to put my little thing on there and let you go forward.
So, in all honesty, most of the time, in general, I do not like mainstream anime. Right? I feel that it often has an inverse effect of popularity to whether or not you can attract people to anime. Right? There are some people that don't like watching TV series; they just want to watch a movie because it's over and done with. Right? There are some people, and that is often the case with mainstream anime. It is the really long-running stuff. We are talking Bleach with hundreds of episodes. We're talking One Piece with over 1,000 episodes. We're talking Dragon Ball Z, hundreds of episodes. I don't know how many episodes That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime has, but you know, it's getting longer and longer. Game Attack on Titan has more than one season. So it's a question of, like, is it fair representation of anime broadly, considering the majority of the big popular stuff is the stuff that just goes on and on and on. And often it makes people think, like, fuck, is this ever going to get to a point?
Yeah, but American audiences especially have been kind of trained to enjoy that type of television, you know? There is no specific end. It's very, you know, oh, well, maybe there's a seasonal arc, but then they just, you know, there's no actual goal. It's just they have to escalate for the next season, you know? It's very rare
in America.
Yeah.
And we've got our fair few of those. Our soap operas over here in England are exactly like American telenovelas, and
I'm not even talking about soap operas.
Watch those.
I'm just talking about regular TV. You know, look at stuff like Fringe or Killjoys,
have to,
you know.
As long as there is a seasonal arc, they can follow the story of, and there's going to be more. A lot of people are just quite capable of
the seasonal arc is really more of a post 2000 thing too. Like before that, you had shows that would just go on and on and on and on. You know, your Incredible Hulks, your oh god, what's a good
your
90s
sitcoms.
show? No, not even your sitcoms. Although those two, sure. I'm really thinking of dramas, but yeah, sitcoms are a fair example too, because they're literally episodic.
Funnily enough, that's the whole thing, is that these mainstream shows have exactly the same goal as the sitcoms, as the telenovelas, as dramas, and everything else, which is to see how long they can make the show and continue making money out of it, continue holding the ratings.
That's not that's not true of everyone, but it is true of a lot of them.
It is a driving force for the producers of them.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But also because the episodic creators of manga, for example, they have a story they want to tell, but if they get popular, if they get to the point like Bleach, where it was just it hit the right timing and the right thing, the overarching story can just keep going and keep going and keep going and filling and expanding their universe. And
Cena, before you go, I have one other thing to say. But sorry, Thaylien, go ahead. Oh no, okay, all right.
You carry on.
I had a little look at this list that we've thrown together, which is obviously not an exhaustive list. And there's by a wide margin, I either lost interest in many of them, haven't seen them, or have no interest in seeing them, or don't like them. You know, there's only like 3 or 4 on here that I really like.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Okay. This is my point towards this. This is why I rank mainstream anime as a fair to middling positive kind of.
It's a gateway drug.
Exactly. Believe it or not, that's exactly what I'm doing.
I knew it.
Because I came to many of these. I came to Naruto, I came to Bleach, I came to Dragon Ball, I came to Ava, all of these.
Yeah.
In the point, I mean, especially things like One Piece as well, at the point where I really wanted episodic,
that sort of thing,
shonen style content. And that was what actually got me into the idea of watching anime consistently, because I wanted to see where it went, even if it was full of filler or just plain silly. At that point in my life, when I was growing up with the concept of anime coming to my world as a thing, and it wasn't something that was all pervasive. It wasn't just nerd culture. It was so it was something that was just interesting and new to me. That really helped shape some of the preferences I had, but also it played into something that just specifically me. I like stories. I play games for the stories. I read books for the stories. I watch movies for the stories, and I watch TV for the stories. And I like certain types of stories, which anime told in plenty. I like certain types of characters, which anime has in plenty. If I hadn't had these startup, mainstream things to find that had so much exposure, they were everywhere enough that they even came to my little corner of the countryside of England. If I hadn't had that, I would have missed out on a huge amount of quality that I got into later. So there is a solid place for this kind of anime, and it is for getting people that normally wouldn't get into anime into that as an exposure to it. And sometimes that can be hit or miss. Sometimes you'll find a JoJo's. Sometimes you'll find a Sword Art Online. Okay, they vary in quality.
Dragon Ball Z leads
but
directly
that's
to
all
JoJo's.
Right. So you might find something like Slime, where it's great in the first season, and then after that it's all gazebos. You might find something like Bleach, where other people might see it as far too simplistic or just too shonen, and other people might be edgy sword boys who just like finding out new swords. They like the fights. It's a broad enough net. It's a generalized lowest common denominator of anime, and that's where it succeeds.
I do feel that you have a valid point there. Like there is a lot more cultural representation in most Shonen Jump stuff compared to a lot of the more niche things that we watch and enjoy. There are very few reflections of that in a lot of the isekai stuff that we watch. It's, they kind of subtract that element from it. I think there's a lot of validity, like the fact that there's plenty of stuff in a show like Bleach that's like, this is a very untold story compared to the West. The West, we have pretty much the same rinse and repeat, several stories that just...
Can I interject in that one?
Yeah, go on.
Because this is where I really like Bleach, because it is a story we have in the West. First couple of seasons are literally the hero's journey.
No. I'm not talking about that.
So
I'm talking about
a story archetype that's told a lot of times. It's just got that flavor, that cultural flavor that you wouldn't get. So that's where, it's just a refinement of your point rather than that. You wouldn't get the setting, you wouldn't get the characters, and you wouldn't get the art style over here.
Yeah, so that's
over here you'd get Supernatural, but over there you'd get Bleach.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this, not to make too fine a point on the whole Supernatural comment, but originally Supernatural was designed to be a knockoff X-Files.
Yes,
right? It was trying to be something that was already well established, where I don't think in a lot of mainstream anime it tries to be a knockoff something else, right? It's its own thing. What do you out of the list we have here, right? How many mainstream anime is just a knockoff of another mainstream anime?
Let's
well,
have a
okay,
look.
maybe not a mainstream knockoff of another mainstream, maybe. But AIM is a knockoff Gundam.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, it's made by the people that
Gundam
make
Wing
Gundam.
is a knockoff Universal Century Gundam.
Well, no, I mean, it's just alternate century, but...
Let's think. So, the real mainstream stuff is like the big four: Dragon Ball. Then there's One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach.
Sure.
That's something that's been really, truly mainstream for as long as they've been going.
Yeah.
But then, if you want to take that thing of, let's say, put things into another world, right? You know, a parallel universe kind of thing, and
Sure.
you'll get Jujutsu Kaisen, you'll get Attack on Titan, you'll get the Tokyo Ghoul kind of things. You'll get those another world, but with a flair of the horror on it, which would have come from Bleach's kind of hollows and things from its first season.
Yeah.
From its first and second season. Although Isekai as a genre, once it popped up, suddenly.
Yeah, slime is just
Overlord,
a
suddenly
Sword Art Online.
Suddenly ReZero, you know, Sword Art Online as well. You know, suddenly the rest of them, they just all of those mainstream isekai pop up because of this concept that you could just have one person from an ordinary world transported to another world and have them be the fish out of water story. You have the self-insert kind of fantasy fulfillment. That's a classic story, regardless of what genre you put it into. You know, wish fulfillment, isekai. But then you have feudal fantasy like Demon Slayer, or not quite feudal, but a feudal to modern fantasy with JoJo's.
Yeah.
So they are very similar to each other.
My Hero Academia is just
with that same
JoJo.
thing of worse.
But everything is JoJo. So
worse. It's a self-insert for wish fulfillment one, in the modern fantasy. So you have these things that they got a theme that appeals to the audience.
Yeah.
And so I would classify many of them as those back before TV and anime became so much of a thing. They are the books you would buy at a ferry port to go across to Europe and read on your holidays.
Your dime store novels.
Yes, and in America, dime store novels. They're the ones that you don't care about. They always have some kind of all the spy ones, all the schlocky romance ones.
Oh God, my brother was big into Clive Cussler books for a while. Like he
Clive Cussler's
he knew they were trash, but he loved them.
Exactly.
Just because of how trashy they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get the who's a good one? Robert Muchamore, which is another one. I was just looking at my bookshelf over there and thinking, some of those. But at the same time, you do get some better ones, but that are marketed as if they're the same thing and aren't, like Brandon Sanderson or Trudy Canavan, maybe even Angie Sage with the Septimus Heap books. They are.
I mean, Inuyasha.
Some of them are better than others.
We didn't put Inuyasha on this list. We really should have, because that is super mainstream, and it ran for. Is it still running? No, I think it finally ended at some point. But it ran. It ran forever. Like just volumes and volumes and volumes.
Exactly. So that's the thing. It's something that's available everywhere, gets everywhere, and yet some of it's good enough that the authors become better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that author went on to do other stuff that was really good.
You'll find some good ones, but the majority of it is just stuff to fill your day without actually ever concentrating on. You know?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's derivative in the way that the genre just needs another story in that genre. It doesn't need quality.
Just to follow up from what Nasuth was saying, I don't know if you're specifically talking about the manga or the
I was talking
anime.
about the manga, yeah.
Right, the manga ended in 2008.
Okay. But it started in like the early 90s, mid 90s, something like that.
96.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
In his defense, we're all old.
But anyway, so I do.
This is why I like this lighting. You can't see the grey hairs.
Oh god, I was looking at my beard earlier, and it is just so there's so much gray in it, so much.
Anywho, but yeah, so I'm okay. There is some cultural relevance. There is as you say, it's a gateway drug into more anime and stuff like that. But my question is there, like, so actually to further a point that Nasuth said, there is some stuff that he won't touch, right?
Yeah, but I'm a snob, I would have touched the.
So
I've got your point here. I've got your point there. Okay.
Well, hold on. Let
him. We've been monopolizing a lot. Please let him finish.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me. So
okay.
my
All
point
right.
is, there is some stuff that I would like to start. Right. My hope was Attack on Titan would have ended by now, and I would have been able to actually, start that and finish it. But now it's gotten to a point now where we're on the 6th season, and I just don't want to start it anymore. Because I know I've watched the first season, but I don't want to anymore because it's just like
to be
my
fair,
God,
the last parts are going to be like 2 hour-long specials. So it's essentially going to be 4 episodes, 4 to 6 episodes.
No, but even so, it's still like a mammoth undertaking.
Yeah, it is.
Not as big as something like One Piece.
Just wait for those compilation ones that they're going to air, and then watch those.
You guys remember that I caught up with One Piece at the beginning of December last year. I actually caught up with it at long last, and I then haven't touched it since. So I'm now 2.5 months behind on it again.
Is this the manga or is this the series?
The series.
So but the thing is,
1,018 episodes when I last checked.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? You're talking about you need to catch up 8 episodes because you're talking 2 months, right? Maybe 9, 10 episodes, right? But
before that,
as opposed to me,
62,
right? Huh?
Before that, for December last year, I needed 62.
But again, right? That's still feasible to do when here I am at the start going no, I'm not touching 1,000 episodes. That's a deterrent in and of itself.
I can't even make myself go back and finish the Boo saga, and I never watched it when it first aired. I couldn't finish. They kept getting to that part and then having to re-air the entire series, and I'm like, I finally got bored. I stopped watching it, and I never picked it back up. I can't do it.
So here's the thing: Nasuth has some things he won't touch. Xeno, you have some things you won't touch. Mm-hmm. The thing is, so do I.
Yep.
My opinion of it overall is fairly middling, but my actual tastes have evolved since.
Oh yeah.
Once I've had the gateway drug, I now need something a bit harder, a bit more real to get me going. So that's why I love doing this show, because we actually try new things and go for the things that each other would recommend, and have that going there, and have 3 people with different tastes on here.
Oh, Xeno just started showing me
Inspector.
And because I've been wanting to watch that since he recommended it, and it is so good.
Binged 9 episodes in one sitting.
Yeah. Because it's this is how you write interesting, smart characters that are actually smart.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Smart characters written by a smart person. So that's the thing. While my opinion is unchanged of it as a thing, as an overall, I still wouldn't go back and touch most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the most recent series of Bleach is definitely the best, one of the best adapted series I've seen. It really is that they took the manga and have actually really gone ham with making it into a stunning bit of anime. So that's why I'm glad I'd watched all the way up to Bleach, I paid attention, and now I could come back to it, and I get rewarded with somebody having done this. And yes, it's mainstream, but again, unlike a lot of the other mainstream, they've actually gone and pushed this one to make it better. I would not, just for the life of me, I can't get past the first 2 episodes of ReZero. I
don't blame you.
I just can't. I don't know why. Something about the way it plays out just makes me go, meh.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of... I think there are plenty of things there that are meh in the world, right? I think there are... how do I follow this up? Like, there are just some things that people just aren't gonna get, right? Like, I really like Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I'm a huge proponent for it. I think it's an excellent series, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's mainstream, but I know Nasuth thought it was meh.
Yeah.
But that's a genre thing. That's an acquired taste thing, and
it's fine. Like it's fine. It's well, but for its genre, it's really well done. I just don't care that much. It's like watching sitcoms. I can't get behind a lot of sitcoms, especially the more rom-commy ones. It just doesn't appeal to me for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple of ones that, like the long-running. I made a mistake. I started when I was reading manga. I got into one of the. I'm trying to remember what its actual name is. It's just the female lead character's name is the name of the manga, and the author has that absolutely hard-lined drama sense of will they, won't they? How can we keep getting in the way of things? How can we put more and more things almost episodically, but in arcs?
But see, then I also like Inuyasha, and Inuyasha has a very heavy focus on romance and stuff.
No.
It's balanced really well by the action, you know? I don't know.
Pure. I made the mistake of doing it because even though I wanted to read the story, I absolutely hated the drama aspect of it. The will they, won't they, the back and forth, the fact that there wasn't any resolution until the very end. And the resolution at the end was like a 1-page resolution to the, I think, because he had the end of it where it looked like they were just going to go their separate ways. But then, like 2 years later, they suddenly make it all work. They just skip 2 years to the point where they come back together and suddenly they're just back as if it's completely normal and they're happy. And that's put me off a whole section of just romantic drama where I could probably find some really good stories. And they've got the anime coming out now, or last couple of seasons they did the first season of it, and I looked at it and I just got like World War II flashbacks.
Yeah.
It's to be fair, it's like those times when I accidentally found out I was reading an NTR story.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh shit. All right, there goes my enjoyment of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no. So yeah, some things can completely ruin you for a whole genre of them just because they're that mainstream. They're what's there, and you never come back to that part of it again. And hopefully it doesn't put you off the whole of anime.
Yeah. Kind of wonder what on earth that was for Mecha, but anyway, The next question I have to lead this conversation on is there one mainstream anime? It's not necessarily something that we have on our list. Is there one mainstream anime that you just don't understand how it could be mainstream? Right? If you could just like, oh, I really like this, and like, it's like, okay, let me take that opinion, throw it in the trash, and show you this instead, right? Because even though I want to say something like Sword Art Online, and just go like throw Sword Art Online in trash, show you Mushoku Tensei instead, the one I cannot comprehend, the one I just don't get, is Tokyo Ghoul. I don't understand. I don't understand why there is such a huge diehard fascination with Tokyo Ghoul in the mainstream.
Not sure I understand it either.
Have you seen it?
I started, I didn't finish.
Yeah.
It's one of those I dropped it quite quickly. Okay, I mean, no, this is the thing, is that I have more of an all sides kind of view on everything.
Yeah.
I have my opinions, but I'm quite easily able to see the other side. So my immediate thought was My Hero Academia.
Oh, yeah.
So, because it is incredibly derivative. It's the guy with no power finds a way to get power and then has to work hard and learn how to use this power in a situation that he's been hoping for his whole life but isn't prepared for.
Yeah.
And he has a friend who had a power, well, a frenemy that had a power and is now resentful of him at the start of the show because he suddenly gets this power and gets this attention, and I should be the one that's powerful because I always was, and my powerless friend shouldn't be getting any of this. And the cute girl from the class that has an interesting power suddenly finds that they like him more than other people, and he just genuinely wins people over by being good-natured and hard-working.
Yeah.
And that story is something that has been told over and over and over again, and in much better ways.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the world setting does have appeal. The idea of quirks, the idea of the established heroes and villains, that's something that's both Western and Japanese. It's pervasive. The idea, hell, it's been done worse. Sky High was a movie, and it's the whole idea of a school that trains superheroes or villains has been done so many times, better and worse. And so, because this
you've got the wizard school too.
Literally, but because this is a definition of mainstream, where the manga was popular and got picked up by the animation studios, got picked up by the producers, and then got shoved into everyone's face for that initial series. It's that, again, with the broad nature of the derivative, it's the lowest common denominator kind of aspects, so it catches the most amount of people. So the valleys on it are low, the peaks on it are reasonably high, and that average between the two catches the most amount of people. It catches the people with more tolerance for lows and easily impressed by the highs, even though those highs are not as good as other shows. So I can see why it's mainstream. I just don't understand why it has to be this one that's mainstream. Why not one of the better versions of it? So,
What
hey.
What about you, Nasuth?
Well, I was gonna say first off, I think for Xeno, it's probably weren't any of the Ghibli movies.
No, I said mine. It's Tokyo Ghoul. I don't understand how that's popular.
I think it's actually
No,
the Ghibli
there are
movies.
Ghibli movies that Xeno likes.
That's true. That's true. It's just Spirited Away. Sorry. So I'm actually gonna say Pokemon. I do not understand. That's the first movie. Do we have regular Pokemon?
That might be.
But even then,
Either way, even the first movie, I never understood the popularity of Pokemon. I think part of it was because it aired in America just as I was getting outside of the target demographic, and so it never really grabbed me. But like, I didn't get into the video game aspect of it. I never got into the trading cards, or I didn't really watch. There were a few times I tried to watch the show, and I was like, the animation looks like garbage. The characters are really poor. The stories are really like very samey. I just never got into it, and I never understood why other people did. I don't get it. What is it? Is it the collecting?
Question for you. I have one question for you because you started trying to watch the animation.
Yeah.
Do you remember the opening song and the opening credits?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I want to be the vet.
Yeah.
There's a scene towards the end of the opening credits where Pikachu's running through the legs of all these characters to give them an injection. Did you know there's a character in that never appears in the show?
What?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
There's a character. Yeah. There's a character in the opening credits of Pokemon that never appears in the show. That's how weird that first season is, or the original Pokemon series is. So I got into the games.
Also, the jelly donuts.
I had
the jelly donuts.
No, that's localization issues, but
and the drying pan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I never really got into the game.
I had the
either,
same reaction.
I
couldn't get into the show. I couldn't get into the show, but again, I can see why it's popular because they hit with everything at once. They had games, they had models, they had toys, they had trading cards, they had the show, they had advertising everywhere. It was that blitz tactic that made it mainstream, front and center immediately. Every kid knew what Pokemon was.
One thing that's really interesting is because we were talking about better alternatives. 100% Digimon. Digimon was like much more interesting than Pokemon in every way, shape, and form.
I never got into Digimon either.
Yeah,
I tried, but I never could.
Digimon. I agree.
Just saw it as the
Digimon
worst
was
Pokemon.
better in overall. There is a thing where it was worse than Pokemon in the sense that
first
Pokemon
season's
had
like
rules.
First season it takes a while to really get into as well.
I always appreciate when you get a good story about like another world of fantasy. I like there to be clear rules that it follows. You know, like so Pokemon evolve, and they can only evolve up to 3 times unless with the more recent stuff with like a Mega Revolution or something. They keep trying to find gimmicks, but in the original series, it was Pokemon evolve. Some Pokemon evolve with stones, some evolve from trading, and that was all part of the game.
But Digimon digivolve for reasons.
Digimon's digivolved, and it never quite made sense what Digimon had digivolved into.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a small cat that suddenly that didn't seem to have a second evolution, but it went straight from its.
Didn't the dinosaur end up becoming like an angel?
Angel woman.
Yeah.
No, the dinosaur ended up becoming the armored warrior. Whereas the wolf one went into a werewolf and then somehow went back onto all 4s as a mechanical one.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah, it was really strange.
But no, or the little winged jelly bean turned into an angel. Yeah, he turned into the Angemon. And Angie Woman came from the cat. But it also came from the cat that skipped a variant.
Yeah.
And we never see that middle variant. It's never explained.
And like sometimes they go back down from their higher evolution too. It's
Well, they drop back immediately. Back once the fighting is done, they'll go back to their little fighter form.
It's so
mean,
weird.
Not to berate the intelligence of Digimon, but I'd much rather that than. Hey, the whole objective of this is to go out into the wilds as a 10-year-old and capture Pokemon, and
well, we
instead
already know
of actually doing
that's so Oak can get
it
Ash's
was definitely
mom,
it was definitely an early isekai in a sense that these kids went to camp and then suddenly were all found themselves in another world with companions.
No, sorry, this is my point. My point wasn't the joke of, it was just so Professor Oak could bang Ash's mom. It wasn't that. My point was the fact that Ash just kept on fucking letting the Pokemon go.
Oh god, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like your whole mission statement is to capture Pokemon.
Yep.
Why are you letting them go?
This is why one of the more recent series of Pokemon is Pokemon Red, and it's Red's journey from the game, where he actually follows that and becomes the Pokemon Master.
Yeah.
And that was a much more satisfying story than Ash.
Yeah.
Although Pokemon did give us one good character.
Yeah.
And that was Gary motherfucking Oak.
Oh.
Come on. The man was a Chad, and he's 11 years old, leaving home before Ash, and as his rival, and he'd rock up in Cadillacs with girls. I'm like, the mad lad that man was.
I'm just Nasuth knows what I'm talking about, and it'll come out a few days after this, but Nasuth noticed me Senpai.
Yep.
With so
yep.
sorry.
Yep.
Random inside joke,
Yep.
I apologize. Just
Look
expect for some Pokemon antics, that's all I'm gonna say. Right,
tune in to youtube.com/Xenogelion for episodes of Notice Me Senpai.
Yeah.
Tune into his Patreon
the
to
last
get
one that just
access
went out.
to the full episodes.
Yeah.
Last one that just went out was also really good.
Anyway, right. So here's the next question for I'm gonna do an Americanism, y'all. Right?
Y'all.
So my next question to you
Please don't do that.
is, what anime do you that is not considered mainstream do you wish was mainstream?
Ooh.
New or old, for the time it came out.
Ooh.
So we won't say like, let's take something old and bring it to now and say it's mainstream now. I'm saying like, if it came out in the 90s, it would be mainstream for the 90s.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a really good question, because from back then I was watching a lot of mainstream, so
I
there's
know.
not a lot.
I know.
You know? Go on.
Escaflowne.
I found that in the middle of the
that.
English countryside, so I'd say that was fairly mainstream.
I don't think it was over here. I've never seen it in any place, any like mainstream circles outside of the anime fandom. I don't think it ever aired on like Toonami or anything. I don't remember it ever airing on TV in any way.
It was on the Sci-Fi channel on Sky, definitely. That's what I saw.
Oh, here, no. It was Fox Kids.
Oh, Fox Kids, yes.
Oh yeah, but you had that really crappy edited version that was awful. Apparently.
Or so I hear. Or so
you hear.
Yeah. It's not that he's got the wiki page open.
No, I can get behind Escaflowne. It was a very strong, powerful fantasy series that actually had a strong female lead with Hitomi and Von Fennell, king of all Fenalia. That is living in my head forever. There's
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. I would tweak bits of it, sure. But
no. But even so, like, it's still a really powerful representation.
Yeah.
Alongside the likes of Sailor Moon.
And it's
right?
a really interesting mecha. They're like the way that they're steam powered rather than, energy based or whatever.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I completely get behind that. What about you, Thaylien? Any further?
The thing
thoughts?
is, the one that keeps coming to mind is something that I think was fairly mainstream, but under Nasuth's argument might actually not be.
Okay.
And that was Oh My Goddess.
See, I would argue
Yeah.
that it's not, because did it ever come? Was it ever televised over here?
I
I
want
definitely
to
know the
say
movie was.
I want to say it was on Toonami over here, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong about that.
I mean, there's a more recent series that's become more mainstream than that, but the original series with the original
That would
animation
be-
and everything,
Yeah.
that's just... Actually, no, I will go... I've got another one that I'm going to say was more... El Hazard.
Ah,
I don't know
good
if we
old
have
El
El
Hazard.
El-
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we
yeah.
do.
Is this El Hazard?
I'm pretty sure we have El
I've
Hazard.
picked a picture. That's El Hazard. There you go.
Yes.
There's
El
one
Hazard.
of my favorite AMVs is from El Hazard. It's Janai live at the Bug Room. It's so funny.
Yeah, so it's the original OAV, and then there's the TV series The Wanderers.
Yeah.
And those two are some really good...
I mean, look at that.
isekai
Look at that.
kind of...
Look at those character
stuff.
designs. Look at that. Look at
They're
that. That
interesting,
beautiful
they're-
90s.
Yep. And the classic idea of a princess of fire, water, and air, and and the fact that the male main character is identical to the princess of the realm. You put him in a wig and he can be a body double. And so you got the OAV version where he's a body double and has to and through the series falls in love with what they think is the world-ending killing machine, who travels back in time in order to send him to that world in the first place, and then they end up with a bit of time traveling shenanigans to end up together. But then there's the Wanderers arc where they actually have to go on a massive adventure over like 26 episodes to save the world, and that character doesn't exist at all. So,
if I remember correctly, isn't their teacher like invincible, but only when he's their teacher, but invincible, but only when he's drunk?
No, reverse. Only when he's
reverse. Sober. Only when he's sober, right?
Yeah. So he's
Yes.
an alcoholic that has to abstain, otherwise he's not a superhero anymore.
It's so crazy, and I love it.
I love that thing because he can talk to robots.
Yes.
His teacher's a invincible superhero when he's sober.
Janai can talk to the Bug Room.
Her powers. Yes, Janai can talk to the Bug Room. I can't remember what her power was. Something more mundane, like she's successful at things that she tries there, like business-wise. And see, there he is. There's our main character, dressed up exactly. He's a clone of the princess of the realm. And since she was kidnapped, he has to pretend to be her for a bit. And I think that show definitely should have been more mainstream than it was.
100%.
Yep. So El Hazard, that's my pick.
I did have one 2 seconds ago, but then I've been scrolling through the system of like the different shows we have, and then I've gone too far, and now I've forgotten what it was I was going to pick.
Lol.
Which is standard for me.
So you wants Chobits to be, because it wasn't mainstream enough. It needs to be more
Yeah.
mainstream.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! No.
Yeah.
You and your...
Handmaid May.
What?
Handmaid May.
Don't know what you're talking about.
It's a show about a guy who gets a maid from the future who is only 4 inches tall and a robot. charges by USB.
Okay, random.
Yes.
DN
how
DN Angel. DN Angel.
Black Cat.
Black Cat. Yeah.
Black Cat was good. I actually quite like Black Cat.
It's
Quite
a
an
shame it
underrated
comes from
series.
the same author that created To Love Rue.
Oh, that's not. I mean, that's not the worst thing.
No, it's not the worst thing. Oh god, I need to check my.
But then there's To Love
I
Rue
need to
Darkness.
check my manga, my anime cupboard.
Lol.
God, this is difficult because, like, you would assume that my go-to would be something like The Guyver, but I just don't think people. Oh, I remember now what it is. I literally just spotted it again. So the one that I wish became mainstream is Good Luck Girl. Yeah, this one picture alone.
Yeah,
right?
That's fair.
Just proves the humor in the series. It is such a funny series. I think we started watching it together, Nasuth.
I don't remember if we did or not.
It's a really funny series, and the whole premise is
Mm.
self-referential. It really leans on a lot of the other pop culture references within anime. It's dumb, it is fun, it is, and it's just so underrated. It's such a good series, but you know, a lot of people just couldn't, it just didn't jive with, and I don't know why. It was so fun.
When did this come out? 2012.
2012.
But
yeah, came out
so
in 2012.
who was the company? Do you know by offhand?
I can easily find that out.
Because I'm getting like
Scrapped Princess.
That was a good one.
I've always meant to watch that. I think I actually have that, but I've never watched it. There's a couple that are like that. Kutsuo would have also been a good choice. But yeah, no, I'm getting some like distinct '90s vibes with the
Sunrise.
the way it's Sunrise. Okay, interesting. But like with the eye designs and the hair design, it feels very '90s. Just very clean. It's clean. You know, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great fun series that, you know, people just sat on, just didn't. I think he's got one.
Oh no.
Those Who Hunt Elves.
Oh no.
Wait, I think I've seen that.
Yep, show about 3 people and a tank summoned to another world, and the spell that can send them back has been scattered and imprinted on the bodies of certain elves.
What is going on here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is where the two sides end up. You know, they're fighting over the dominance. You got the lucky side and the unlucky side. They're all spirits, and then the only 2 that aren't spirits in this shot are her and the black monk that she's yelling at.
Okay.
Everyone else was a spirit, and like they just kind of give up fighting and then just start hanging out instead. And the whole point was she summoned all the good spirits to kick the bad spirits out.
And instead they just started hanging out together. Right.
Yeah, they just started hanging out together.
Right.
You know, as you do.
Oh,
So,
lordy Lou.
Yeah, there's a lot, and the humor in this is just like so. I wouldn't say highbrow, but I think it's acceptable by nearly all ages. It's just so funny. So you know, but
Yep.
c'est la vie, overlooked. And then you have things like JoJo. You know,
How much
Yeah.
are we talking about in the way of fan service?
barely any.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, barely any.
I am
Well,
you know,
now.
because I'm looking at this character design and I'm like, they're gonna do things to her, and okay,
No,
I'm in.
that's-
I'm in.
the whole-
Thaylien.
I think he's burnt his mouth.
No, he's
No, I was
to what I
taking a
said.
Okay.
drink.
They're gonna do
So-
things to her.
Well, no, he looked like he was in pain, and I'm like, okay. But no,
Yeah, because I've just taken a drink.
yeah. So the big thing with her is
Did
the
not
fact
want to
that
spray tea all over my monitor and microphone.
yeah. So the big thing with her is like you know, she absorbs luck from everyone.
Right. Yeah,
right? She just has this innate I don't want to say talent, but you know, it's just like she can't control it. It just happens. She passively draws luck away from other people and absorbs it into
Which is
herself.
why they all want to take advantage of her. Yeah.
No. That's not the premise at all. Right?
Oh wait,
the whole premise.
You told me. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
The premise is that the god of misfortune or goddess of misfortune, who is right next to her, yeah, she's trying to equal out the luck by taking it away from her and giving it to everyone else, right? So she's there to try and bring balance to the force. And you know. But anyway, so that's why our main protagonist, like, you know, she's got such a big rack because she's so lucky, right?
Right.
You know, and they make point of that. You know, it's hilarious. It is such an undervalued. And the sad thing is, because they didn't know if the series was actually going to get picked up for a second season, they actually did if we get picked up for a second season, this is what would have been in the show, right? Actually, I'm just realizing some of the humor in this show may not be suitable for kids. But regardless, it's more suitable than Attack on Titan.
Yes.
The point is that there's surprisingly little fan service.
Yeah, it's a brilliant series. It's so funny. I really, really enjoy it. Yeah.
How old's that character?
Which one?
Main
The main
character?
character.
She's in high school.
I mean, it's
I wouldn't be
anime,
able to
you
do things to her.
Well, no.
No. Age is an important factor here, Nasuth. Anyway, right?
Yes.
So we've proposed the shows that we would like to see brought in. Like hell, even things like Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. The humor in that I really enjoy and stuff. And
Yeah.
you know, I do think Kobayashi's Dragon Maid has a quite cult following, but I think it's too niche to be mainstream. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what other points we could possibly bring up. If any of you have any questions that we could ask amongst ourselves.
Let's do the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've had the why is this mainstream, but if there's one that we could just remove from the mainstream view, make it a niche thing that people didn't see, and so remove its impact on the anime world, which one would we choose to remove? Just to remove its impact.
Overlord.
Really?
Overlord. Get rid of it.
Really?
Get rid of it. Nobody see it. Make it a niche thing that nobody watches.
I would prefer to keep Overlord and get rid of Evangelion.
Oh, come on.
But Evangelion is just like it is.
Yeah, but at least it's weird, right? Overlord is just boring and dull and nothing.
No, I'll give you that, but like, I think Evangelion is too weird, right? The big thing with a lot of anime at a certain point, and a brilliant case for this is actually Attack on Titan, right? Well timed there. Attack on Titan grew into its weirdness, right? Whereas Evangelion started beyond
literal complexes in the kids it features.
Yeah. You know, it's okay. Like,
for me, I think it would actually have to be something like Demon Slayer.
Really?
Yes.
That shocks me.
What the?
Yeah.
But it's
because as much as I enjoyed Demon Slayer, the phenomenon I noticed when it arrived and the first series came out is that it seemed to literally dumb down a whole portion of anime fans to this thing where they almost like they had never seen another shonen anime. I found myself flooded with reactions and opinions on the things that happened in Demon Slayer as if they were new, as if they were fresh. And no, again, Demon Slayer has been told in that sense of story again and again, and easily as well in other shows. And the points that it hits, the successes, are in many ways predictable. In many ways, just the same as many other shows. And yet, the reaction of the people that watched it was as if it was unique. And that's really
fair.
ticked me off while it was airing.
You could make the same argument with like Revenger, where it's because it's a historical period piece. They're hitting a lot of the same tropes that any other show portraying this era would hit. Right? It's that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but then of course the fans react to it in that way, as if the way I liken it is when I had a relative's party that I went to, and one of the small children there was a big fan of Fall Out Boy, and this was just after the death of Michael Jackson. They did they did the tribute to him. I think they did Beat It. And this kid was going on and on about how this is so unique. They'd not heard this kind of sound from Fall Out Boy before. And I said, it's a cover, right? And he's like, what? No, it's not. I was like, yeah, it's a Michael Jackson song. He died and they've done a cover of his song. And the kid was absolutely adamant that this was a Fall Out Boy song. It was the original that they'd done. Despite being able to look it up and get this. It's the same reaction where
because it's the first
certain
thing
portion of
they've
people.
Seen.
Well, no, even if they've seen other shows, when I turn around and say, well, look, they did that in Naruto. Where they did almost the exact same story beats on some of the things that he did. And not specifically for Naruto himself, sometimes for the other characters. And we've seen how some of those other characters have done something almost exactly the same. And I know for a fact those people have watched that show and they said, oh, that was completely different. Like, have you got no comparative criticism at all? And yeah.
I think though that is also a valid point. I think a lot of people don't have the ability to give constructive criticism to themselves about a show that they're watching. Like, I know the three of us, when we're talking about stuff that we do and do not like, I mean, we've said this before, Nasuth, we like the setting of Overlord, right?
Yeah.
We like the characters of Overlord, but they've got no plot. No. It's the lack of plot. It's the lack of drive to do anything. Like, why?
I do feel like a lot of the characters are also very one-dimensional and bland, but that's it, for a lot of them. That is what they are supposed to be. I feel like Ainz is the biggest problem in that regard, because he is.
But he is the self-insert character.
Yes, right? Yes.
He is.
Yes.
Ainz is the weakest point of the series because he is supposed to be the self-insert character. Yeah. Where it would be brilliant, in my opinion, if he was this character like Skeletor that you couldn't insert yourself to, but he had a drive to do things, even if it was to perv on snake people.
We're going to make some snake babies.
pretty much. But yeah, that's the whole gist of it, though.
So, who was the guy that created the NPCs? Or specifically,
so the NPCs were all made by people in the guild,
individually by other players in the game. Yeah.
He changed hers right before.
I know. I'm aware of that. What I mean is, I can just imagine earlier on, say, "Oh, I've just finished creating this new NPC. I'm just going to go and download a few extra things to find out, add some layers to her, make her more interesting." So
Some
what are you
extra heuristic
adding?
algorithms.
What are you adding to her? Fetishes. Fetishes? Which ones? All of them.
All of them.
And that's it. That's that. So at the end of it, he didn't even read anything. That's why he just added the "is in love with Ainz" to it, because he had no idea what the rest of the context was.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find really interesting when it comes to Overlord is the fact that one of Ainz's own characters, I don't know how many characters are revealed to be Ainz's own creations, but like the one that Ainz had an interest. He had like a World War II era interest, and he creates a character based off World War II, inspired by World War II garb and things like that. And he was really embarrassed. That character has more substance than Ainz does, right? Ainz, what are you doing? Why are you doing
more
these things?
substance than Ainz.
Right. Also, I will point out, for anyone that likes the series, you're more than welcome to like the series.
Yes.
Our biggest question about the whole thing is just Ainz. Albedo is an interesting character. She gets revolted when anyone comes onto her and things like that. Then you've got the whole factions. You've got knockoff Gilgamesh, who's trying to, build a task force powerful enough to fight Ainz. You've got Ainz that says he won't use magic, but then he uses magical items. That's clearly not the same thing. Ainz is the biggest weak point for us when it comes to Overlord.
Look, I'm an old man. I will fully admit that I'm a snob, and I have no time for that shit.
Yeah.
I have one real question about that show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, where the hell did Albedo get a Daki?
A Dakimakura of
Just in general, where the fuck did she get it? But at the same time, specifically of Ainz, and Ainz without his clothes on, which is
magic,
requires a certain amount of
magic.
Yeah. No, I can. Did that exist in the game
beforehand
prior to the World Championship? Okay, so here's
a
one
mythical item.
Here's one big point. I've when talking and analyzing Overlord, I kind of realized here's my biggest problem with Evangelion, right?
Okay, all right.
Evangelion, right? Evangelion, I think we can all agree, is a deconstruction on the giant robot genre.
I actually disagree. I think it is Hideki Anno working his way through his own issues with his father and with being a father.
Well, fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go
my
for
entire point.
It's actually it is a emotional journey more than the giant robot journey.
Yeah.
Well, that was literally my point. Like it was just like you've just completely deflated my whole conversation. My whole point was, right, I know how Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica, or Magical Girl Madoka, is again a deconstruction of the Magical Girl genre, but Evangelion, as in the past, has been quoted to be a deconstruction of the giant robot genre.
Yeah.
I agree with you both entirely. It is just the writings of someone trying to understand emotions. It never made sense to me that these robots could only be piloted by prepubescent teens, right?
No,
it was just like,
you and I really do need to sit down and watch the movie. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
No. So my point is, right, I argue that just like Magical Girl Madoka, Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka is also a deconstruction of the Magical Girl genre.
That I agree
because
with.
it militarizes the magical girls. What would the world really do with magical girls? Right?
Yeah.
Militarize them. Train them how to use their powers properly. Train them how to deal with horrible, nasty situations. So on and so forth. Right? it makes sense. You don't just go into a world blind, right? You would want to have training, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is the biggest problem I had with Evangelion. It's like, you've just got a 13-year-old, a giant monster's attacking, and you just slap them in the robot. Right?
So interestingly, the movies do the newer ones, the rebuild of Evangelion, does actually explain some of that stuff. That's probably part of why it is the best version, because it does actually sort of explain how they can do this, why they have to do this, what makes Shinji special, and it still deals with Anno's issues with his like, because that's part of why there was such a large gap between the last movie and the other three, is because he'd fallen back into his cycle, his depression, and a lot of that is manifest, and I think it's helped him work through it. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I'll just swap the genre on this a bit, because that's just like how Devil May Cry 3 went back and fixed Devil May Cry 2, as well as providing. No, we do not.
Sorry.
Do not mention. So Devil May Cry 3 went back and not only fixed Devil May Cry 2, it also was a prequel to Devil May Cry 1 and helped add depth to that. So the fact that the third installment of the series actually covered for all the problems of the earlier games doesn't remove the problems with those games. So they're saying that the movies now, where they're actually giving context to Ava and giving background that didn't exist in the original show, does not make the
original series does still have its flaws. Yes, yeah.
These movies that are coming out now, I would argue, could have been made now anyway. If the Evangelion original series hadn't come out, and they wanted to create something to do with Ava, which is actual Ava. They could have done these movies now, or when they did them, without Evangelion as a series first.
See, the weird thing is that I like the art in the original series better. I feel like the digital art and the CG that they used, the CG was too early, or didn't have enough budget behind it and some stuff. So I feel like a lot of the hand-drawn stuff is better and is also visually easier to understand. Like, they went a little crazy.
There's a whole... Yes. It's similar to the old Akira and Ghost in the Shell stuff, where they actually put the detail into some of these things and made it clear.
They had to really think about the detail they were putting in.
It's that style, that era of animation.
So...
I'll agree with that.
While I like the story of the new movies, I feel like the art of the original was better, and just because they had to decide where they would put those details,
but in terms of a mainstream thing,
more on the we're talking about
in terms of mainstream thing.
That's a whole artistic discussion. We could do a whole episode on Eva probably.
Zeno is right. I think we could take Evangelion out of the mainstream entirely and replace it with these movies made later.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
we would have had a better time of it.
That's fair.
Also,
that's fair.
I think a lot of the problem with some of the with the original series is like, the weird trips that people got into the whole psychoanalyzation of the series. Like, oh yeah, we noticed that you're putting a lot of Catholicism, references to Catholicism.
He just liked that shit.
I did it because I liked it. I liked it. It was pretty looking, so I put it in.
That is still very true in the rebuild too. They go to the gates of Golgotha, and it's like, do you know what that means? No, we just like the name.
Nothing.
It's a thing that we can do. It's a place where we can. It's a place where we can rebuild reality. Okay, does that have anything to do with the real? No. Okay.
Anywho, right. Any other points that anyone wants to bring up?
Okay, here's one then. If you had to, okay, because we know your opinion on One Piece with 1,000 episodes gone. And think of the same with Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
If you had not watched any of them, but you were tasked with actually watching and reviewing, up to the current day, one of them, which would you choose? These classic long-running mainstream.
Well, see, I've never watched Naruto or Bleach or One Piece, so I don't know how long they are compared to Dragon Ball Z.
So actually,
Dragon Ball Z is massively longer
hold on.
than most.
Let's do it on the elevator pitch, right? So here's the idea. So we've got a character.
Right. I will pitch you two.
Yeah.
Or Nasuth. I'll pitch you Nasuth.
Since I've seen basically nothing except for Dragon Ball Z.
I'll pitch you the big three, because Dragon Ball Z, and then it's the 3 Shonen Jump mainstream animes.
Okay. All right.
So, Naruto. An orphaned boy wants to become a true ninja and the leader of his village, the Hokage, a person who everyone trusts and believes in. He starts off as a complete nobody, a prankster, puts graffiti up all over the place, and is given the opportunity by learning one ninja move that he was never able to master before, which is the clone technique, and gets caught up in a massive plot to overthrow all the ninja villages and to basically take over the world and sink it into a forced peace. So he has to grow up, learn how to be a true ninja, become trusted and relied upon by the village, and defeat a group of bad guys that are incredibly powerful that he doesn't even know about at the start of the show.
Okay, how long does he spend being a shitty little kid?
No, we're not going to answer that question. Don't answer the question.
Yeah, that's the thing. So let's put it to the thing of the call to battle, him getting the opportunity and learning the one technique that he was lacking to get him recognized, makes him more serious, but he never stops being a brat.
Okay, all right. And that's more than Xena wanted to give away, but all right.
I know, but that doesn't... Okay, so Bleach. This is a hero's journey. You have, in a world where ghosts can be seen, one boy has the ability to see ghosts because he thinks that he's lived with death through most of his life. His father runs a small clinic, and he's seen people die on the operating table before. So he can see ghosts and is basically a bit of a rebel in general. Everybody thinks that he has bleached his hair, but actually his mum just had bright orange hair as well. That's the name of the show.
Is that seriously where the name of the show comes from?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Is it?
So, yes. I did not know that. Okay. So, the name of the show is because everybody thinks he bleached his hair.
All right.
So he's unusual because people think he's bleached it, and it's actually his real color.
Okay.
He has his own sense of justice and his own way of dealing with the world. But one night, he spots a girl in a strange black uniform taking on a gigantic monster that nobody else seems to be able to see. And it follows the giant monster seems to be following him around until the point where one attacks his home, and he confronts the girl that's in the black uniform to find out what's going on, and she realizes that he can see her, and he tries to help her, gets thrown out like the human he is, and unfortunately the girl gets injured trying to protect him. The only way to save them both is for her to give her powers to him. And from that point on, he is immersed in the world of Shinigami and Hollows, protecting his town, protecting the people he loves, and then getting involved with the world of the Shinigami as they seek to correct the mistake that this poor girl made in giving him powers.
All right, and how long do we have to spend in Filler Arc?
We're not answering any.
No, it's not there. So it is called about. It's a standard hero's journey where you are offered the sword, you go to the other world, you gain power, and then you return a better person for it with the answers you were seeking.
Right. Okay.
And, yeah. And then One Piece. A world covered in oceans means that everyone knows that to adventure anywhere is to sail away from your home and join either the military, the navy, set up a business in some way, or become a pirate. Pirate crews are famous throughout the world, and they are all seeking the fabled treasure of Ghoul D. Roger, who was the king of the pirates before he was caught and executed by the Navy. And his final words to the world were, "I have left my treasure in one piece," which is believed to be an island at the end of this world's most weird phenomena, the Grand Line. This world is divided into 4 parts. There is a single continent of land that wraps around the world one way, and it is bisected by a universal current that runs around the entire world in the other way. That area is unique on this world, even among the weirdness that goes on, and is well known for pirates trying to travel the length of it to reach the One Piece.
But is
only
the
thing
world
helping
flat?
No.
So
how could you ever?
Hold
How could you ever reach the end of it?
No, just to clarify for you, Nasuth. You got your globe, right? The continent, the land, right, is along the equator, right? And then
it goes pole to pole.
Okay, fine.
It goes pole to pole around the world.
It goes around
the meridian. Divides the world into 2 halves.
Right.
But then this current that Thaylien is talking about is just across the equator, right? So the idea is that
at any point, why do you just? Okay.
That's the thing. The Grand Line is protected on either side by a completely dud zone of unmoving water that spawns gigantic sea beasts that love the still water and will eat any ship that comes over. There is only one place to join the Grand Line. That is where the Grand Line has joined.
And no one
as
thought
crosses
to
the
make a helicopter. Got it.
Nope. Well, not one that can really go anywhere. This is still the pirate era.
Yeah.
So, and the peculiarity of this world is that there are fruits that grow in this world that people call devil fruits. And they're supposed to have a devil in them, which is where they give you strange and bizarre powers. Our hero gains his power quite early on. He's a young boy, barely 8 years old, when he eats the gum fruit, which makes him into a man made of rubber. So he can stretch his arms, he's resistant against impacts.
You stretch Armstrong.
Yeah. And he decides that he is going to be king of the pirates and find the One Piece. The downside, of course, of devil fruits is that in a world full of water, if you eat a devil fruit, you can no longer swim. You just sink.
Okay.
So it's a balance. Every good pirate has to have a balance of a crew that might have some devil fruit users and might have some great swordsmen or some great gunnery officers and a true navigator. Hell, even a musician or 2. And you have to assemble your crew, leave this part of the ocean that you're in, join the Grand Line and attempt to find the One Piece and become king of the pirates. across your entire journey. The Navy will try to stop you. Other pirates will try to stop you. The giant beasts that swim in the Grand Line will try to stop you. Even the weather itself will try to stop you occasionally, because the Grand Line spawns really weird weather.
Right.
Okay. I think I've heard enough to. I think I've heard enough to formulate an answer.
So,
which of those three would you?
Are you not including
like
Dragon Ball Z? Are you not including Dragon Ball?
No, because now there's what's Dragon Ball.
I mean, I could also include Dragon Ball Z in this, and it wouldn't really change the answer. So I would pick. Is this a zombie? No. I mean, honestly, that does. I do really want to watch that. I would probably, honestly, based on that, even with Dragon Ball Z, I would probably pick Bleach. I think Bleach sounds the most interesting.
It also has the
big thing holding me back is that it has a lot of filler in the one arc. There's that one arc.
So there's a clearly easily skippable arc of filler that you can. And it then doesn't matter. The second you see the opening credits change to that one, skip a season.
Right. Yeah.
And because it doesn't influence and it comes back stronger.
Yeah, I really should sit down and watch that sometime.
Yeah, let me know.
I know Naruto's supposed to get really good, but my experience of what little I've seen was from
just as much,
seasons.
if not more, filler.
Yeah, that's also the other problem. Is I know there's that there's that one cut where the guy gets out like all the filler for his girlfriend or something. I should look that one.
But
it turns it into 100
put it this
episodes.
way, after the main arc of Naruto, there is at least 2 seasons before it becomes Naruto Shippuden. Or Shippuden. That the entire gap between those 2 points is filler.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Dragon Ball Z because that's one of the ones that really got me into anime. But let's face it, it's not that deep. It's not that amazing. The later seasons, especially after they realize that Gohan is not going to be the breakout character they want him to be.
They could have done, and also the fact that he then just forgets what to do with certain characters, like Chi-Chi.
The Namek episodes go on a little too long. There's just a lot of stuff like that.
The Namek saga was supposed to be the end of Dragon Ball Z in general. That's why it went so weird. Is because the entire thing of Goku at the end of that season. Becoming
Goku was supposed to die,
and destroying that. Yeah, they were both supposed to die, and that was supposed to be then Gohan taking over and being, if there was going to be a season 2, or the next season, it was going to be that part of it. But
they tried to get it with Cell, and that didn't work. And
but the big thing is, like, Toriyama tried to kill off Dragon Ball Z, God knows
so many times. Yeah,
he just didn't want to do it. Given I have watched a non-zero amount of all 4 of them. I have watched 100 episodes of Bleach, all of Dragon Ball Z, over 100 episodes of Naruto, and I think about 36 episodes of One Piece.
Yep.
I would watch Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. See, I'm then unique among the 3 of us of having watched all of them. Apart from the last 8 episodes of One Piece.
Yeah. But it's just like I can't bring myself to. One Piece and Bleach get so fucking slow. I know Naruto really slows down after 100 episodes, but and Dragon Ball Z it has its super slow moments.
Shippuden does kick it into a nice series of
arcs. But Shippuden's 400 odd episodes.
I know, but there's actually surprisingly little filler in that one. It's actually all seasons.
Also, I kind of want to watch Super as well, so
you should watch Super. It's honestly really fun. It does have a couple of slow bits, but
Right, I think we're done here. So
let's get out of here. Let's
cool. Right,
let's move on
to the supporter questions. Right, so Zrugal says there are 2 types of people in the world: those who like the video and those who don't. And just between you and me, the ones who do are my favorite.
Aww.
Oh, I'm not allowed to have favorites, but I think I agree.
I don't know if it's bad that I like the video, but I like the video. I look it up when it's uploaded and I like it, you know.
Right. So Zrugel asks.
I like it when I'm timestamping.
Yeah.
Zrugel asks, from Dragon Ball Z's Cooler's fifth form. From Dragon Ball Z, Cooler's fifth form was a beastly shaped warrior, but Frieza's fifth form was gold. Does that mean that Cooler is non-canon, or do the colds? I can't. You need to move the mouse.
The race.
Now.
Oh, sorry, the race.
Are variable. Have variable trans.
Yeah. Well, Frieza specifically says that he didn't have a fifth form until he.
Yeah.
He
trained. He trained for 1 month.
1 month.
In
because he'd never trained before.
Losers. Yeah.
So basically, the idea is that they all
Cooler
transform into different things.
Yeah.
Cooler was probably born stronger and so had a fifth transformation.
Yeah.
Whereas the others didn't.
Whereas Frieza actually earned his.
Frieza actually decided that the only way he could beat Goku was to actually train.
It was the only way he could escape. It was the only way he could escape HFIL, because he was Hell.
Yep.
I guess it was technically Hell. I prefer Home for Losers because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So he was wrapped up in this weird cocoon thing that he couldn't escape from.
Yeah.
And it was only at the training that he could.
No, that was. Didn't they actually let him out of that as a trade for taking part in the tournament?
As if you muted yourself.
I know. I'm having a bit of a coughing fit over here.
So I'm fairly sure that they actually let him out of that for taking part in the tournament. And helping win it.
No,
I don't know. It was the return of Frieza's Return or something. The movie that. They came back, and he said because after he'd been brought back to life, he went away and trained to become stronger, and he got stronger in that 1 month.
Maybe, I don't remember. I have to watch it again.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
There's no way to find out.
Wasn't the
there's no way to find out.
The comedy in that movie?
We'll never know.
No,
there's
no
way
the comedy
to
in that
find
movie
out.
was that what Frieza wanted to wish on the Dragon Balls for was become 5 centimeters taller.
Oh God!
Because he wanted to do it gradually, the same way that Bulma has been steadily wishing herself 5 years younger every time. That's how she's staying young.
That one's actually canon.
Yep.
Anyway, so Nasuth without context asks, instead of the hosts, I have a question for the audience. Do you ever have something to drink while watching the show? Typically, I do.
Yeah.
A
refreshing Dr. Pepper.
I ran out earlier.
But this is it.
Yeah.
Leave a reply in the comments if you're drinking anything while watching the show, or if you're actually instead doing something interesting like working, doing your ironing, that kind of thing, because this is more a podcast form.
Yep.
And
Right.
Obscure Alcohol Brand asks, I've already asked 2 questions this episode. Do I have to ask more?
Well, yes, 100%.
Right.
No.
Let's move on to the comments.
Thank you, Thaylien.
To the comments. Right. First, from Kanpai News, Zrugel says, actually, I don't think $75 is crazy expensive for a themed backpack. I mean, I would buy it, but considering people are buying... I wouldn't buy it, fair enough, sorry. But considering people buy $100 to $150 pair of jeans...
That is true. That is very true.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep. So this is in response to the gacha backpack. Gacha game backpack.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
Right. And now on to the cast. Jesus Christ. Replies. Zrugel says, haha, I'm curious how you guys will redo the rating system.
I still need to do the stars. Oh, God.
I know you do. High, nothing special is an interesting classification.
Yep.
I've got a suggestion. How about currency, making the baseline of each threshold 10 pieces. So 10 silver is a standard rating for a pass. One silver
would be
dumpster fire,
dumpster
almost
fire.
poop. 20 would be trash, but maybe watch it if you feel like a raccoon. If you like things that are so bad it's good. Anyway, you could use copper as poop, silver as pass, electrum as nothing special, gold as acquired taste, and platinum as must watch. Edit. That might not work as well as the current system, but it's just an idea.
I do kind of like the idea of a sliding 10-point scale.
But
you
already suggested a while back putting a 5-star rating within
the 5 stars would also work, I think. But yes, we do. Thank you, Zrugol, for keeping me on task. I do need to figure out a good way to implement this, both visually and in OBS.
I think realistically,
our opinions are too nuanced. That's what it is. We're all too nuanced.
Yeah. I think ideally what I would like to see is just the category and then how far it sits in that category.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So like you'd have within poop, you'd have like a 5 or 10 point scale that would be.
Yeah. And I would say like it's more a case of like how good it is within that category. So like Deadpan Center is a 3 nothing special, right? Whereas a 1 a nothing special is not a good nothing special, but it's still nothing special.
It's still technically, but
yeah. And I would argue the lowest possible rating is you get is a 1-star poop, right? It is so bad. Right, it is.
You're
like,
dumber for watching it.
Could you really find more than a couple of anime that we've ever watched that rates a 1-star poop?
Yes.
Good question.
School days.
Yeah, but
bloody school days.
Rusted Armor Dawn.
Could you find
Rusted
more
Armor.
than a couple?
What else is
Overlord? No, I'm kidding.
Devilman Crybaby. Yep, there's another 1-star poop.
So that's 3 out of all. 3 out of all of our ones we've watched.
I'd probably give Sword Art Online a 2-star poop.
Really?
I
might go as high as 3 because again I can see
maybe
why
3,
it's popular.
maybe 3.
See,
it has some interesting.
Eyes of Mars, definitely a poop, but like it's so poop that it's weirdly interesting. So like
yeah, exactly.
Just a 5-star.
There's nuance. That's why you put it up to a 4-star.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's so it's so bad it's good poop.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's a poop, but it's one of those nice smooth ones, not too hard, not too soft.
We don't have to describe. Okay, let's move on. Right, and now it's time for the memes.
There's a little bit of corn still in there, so you got some substance.
So if you go to twitter.com/Kanpai_cast, you can see memes daily, all from Reddit. They are fun and hilarious, and Nasuth will stop talking about poop. And we are doing something additional. We're doing something additional today. Thaylien will also be bringing in some memes.
We all have.
My meme game is weak. Do forgive me.
Do we want to do Thalien's second and yours
no,
third?
No. Yeah. Okay. So top to bottom.
All right. Cool. Okay. Right. So my first meme. So this is actually Keith Metal Idol. Usual meme formats. Same meme format, but it's from a forgotten pre-2000s anime. This is Keith Metal Idol, which I actually have never watched, but I should because
I think I watched the first episode and I was just like, "What is this even?" Can I just ask a quick question here, Nasuth? How many of the memes have you taken from the Kanpai Cast Twitter account?
Did you tweet this out?
Yes. I've tweeted out. Anyway, no, I'm just checking because I think last week was really heavy on what we'd already tweeted out.
No, I never really. I should. Look at that, fine. But I never really look at that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I use some of them, but anyway.
So standard looking angel in anime, Angels in Evangelion.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Madhouse. No Game No Life fans asking or begging for another season.
Is that meant to have audio?
No.
Okay,
No.
cool.
No.
Yeah.
I
true.
ended up making
Too
this
true.
longer because it was only like 2 seconds. But
Yeah.
it's just that.
So true.
This has been another random quotes that sound like light novel titles. Coming this spring to Crunchyroll, I learned the existence of a new world. Thus, I must save people.
Oh my god.
I'd
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, Shinji, teach me. No, please, Shinji.
No! Mother! Oh, no, Nasuth.
And finally,
Why? Well done. Well done.
Oh, beautiful, even in her headbanging.
Watch you the rock. Moving on.
so Thalien's first meme. That's not right. Why did that not update?
That's not right.
Oh dear.
Fear it back, people.
Once more, with feeling.
All right.
Right, here we go.
Female looks at main character for 0.00001 seconds.
And then turns into yeah.
Yandere.
Oh, basically gone.
Right.
Oh,
Don't worry about that. Let's go to 2.
Yeah.
Let's go to 2.
Let's
go
let's
to-
go on. Let's go on. Oh, I need to make this full screen so we can all see it. Oh God,
Yeah.
it's all falling apart. Okay.
Ram, out here living my best life. Ram, super is drowning. Ram, this ain't about him.
Nah.
Brilliant.
Like this is from Valentine's. So. Roses are
Okay.
red, violets are blue. Oh my wa mo shinderu.
Oh my god. Brilliant.
You're going to give me a remake on the same level as Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, right? Yes, Vash. A perfect remake, just like FMAB. Just keep thinking about your iconic design, e-boyifying gun.
This makes me sad.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it.
Do you think anyone else thought of Attack on Titan when reading the original subs? Huh? I'm sorry. That was a strange thing to ask.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Thaylien. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. I love that.
Okay, class, since this is our first meeting, everyone will have to come in front and introduce themselves.
Oh no.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Poor
So
Benny.
moving
Challenges
on.
were real there, but here we go.
Moving on to my first meme. Excuse me, bro. You're excused, and you're not my bro. Yeah, the bloody what's it called? Zoolander meme was just going mental like some time back, and I saw this and yeah. Okay, second one.
What the?
I'm sorry, I saw this and that exact same reaction.
fuck?
Nasuth.
Weed culture was a mistake.
What the fuck? Okay.
Just to clarify, if anyone's wondering, can this guy actually see anything? No,
No,
because it's
no,
a
of course
you
dude.
can't.
It's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah. Although they do have those weird
wants to.
3D cardboard cutouts sometimes.
Oh no, yeah. Anyway, when the
no.
anime side character suddenly
no.
gets more screen time, I'm in danger.
Looking at you, eye
My-
patch girl.
My fourth.
Oh.
My God. My fourth meme, please. Is it true we're friends with D's? Who's D?
Oh no.
Right. God, give me a
Oh,
reason to go to
almost-
work.
I almost picked this one.
My son, Bochin Android is not cheap.
Yeah.
And then my last meme for the week.
Oh no.
People who watch sub, people who watch dub, the Japanese.
Truly a people of culture. Truly.
What if it's a Korean?
What if it's a what?
Korean origin.
Oh, very, 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 yeah, interesting.
Anyway.
Interesting.
Diary of an Immortal King.
Right, so wrapping
Next
up
week.
the episode. Next week, we're going to be rating each other's top threes, or if we haven't seen them, top X. We'll be working out those shows in a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is it for this week's episode. So thank you very much for watching / listening. I know it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai!